no, we're going to guaranteed replacement cost policy, and it probably should be 1.5. I'm saying it's worth 1.25 because human nature, in my opinion, makes people more guilty about moving it up versus moving it down or justifying where it is. So they'll let you put it in whatever. They're going to come with an appraisal. Some are not doing the appraisal immediately anymore. Some are waiting a year to do the appraisal. So that's on them for not having enough staff in order to go out and appraise the policy and for cover that. So,
guaranteed replacement's got this weird little nuance where you could literally walk away from the property, like you don't even have to rebuild it. You'll just get a check. Yeah, Dan talks about that, and I'm like, no one's going to rebuild it, but you guys, it's right up. Whereas with the State Farm policy, you'd have to rebuild the house and then sell it and move. Guaranteed replacement, you could say, nah, stroke me a check for, your example, $1 million. You can take your $1 million and go on. They would have to rebuild, and they would have to sell the home. But
is that a negotiated
number? I actually had one in Fort Wayne that did it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They couldn't deal with the memory of what they lost, so they said,
they didn't want to.
Said what you sacrificed there, it was whether they could have rebuilt it for more or not, but you're walking away from the land price.
Yeah.
Right. So it typically it's bad math, but they didn't care. They just rather have had the cash and not deal with the 18-month, process of rebuilding their house.
Yeah.
Back of that one.
So even though you're only insuring the house, they keep the land?
Like you said, not a good math. Yeah, we just talked to Chris's point on the cash settlement versus having to rebuild. That's a consideration. Our water damage limitations are important too. Most of our clients have very expensive basement areas and areas that are, more prone to have water damage. So I think noting that is important. Most of the mainline carriers, or if you don't add a certain level, click a certain button on some of the bigger policies, they don't have that. I've seen everybody who I would evaluate as pretty good in this industry always recommend a higher dollar amount from that. I would assume because they have to deal with it a lot. Because, sub pumps break and back up water and all that jazz just can create havoc.
It's not cheap.
Correct.
Yeah. $25,000 doesn't go very far. Think about what you might have in your basement. You might just have kids' toys down there, and that's the case. You don't need it, but if you've got, if you're decked out with custom-built cabinets and nice sectional couch and, pool table and speakers, TV and stuff, you could easily, the carpet's cheap, cutting 2 feet around the wall and replacing the drywall and insulation, that's cheap, but boy, replacing, some Martin Logan electrostatic speakers, they got water laws, that cost, $10,000 each. That's going to, $25,000 limit's going to get surpassed pretty quick on that, so, but you got to have it.
Note that most carriers, whenever they quote some of the other policy pieces, other structures, personal property, additional policy events, most all of those are percentage-based. So every time it comes up with a client, well, we don't have this much personal property, or we don't have this. There are, I think Pure is the only one that I've seen that you can actually change that. Safeco can too. Okay.
And I did the math with Tricia at DC Power. It saved me like $6, taking my personal property down from whatever the multiple was. I think it was 100% or 80% of. And I was like, I don't have that much of that. Now, so you're welcome to